All right, welcome back to another video on Jokowski Sports. We wanted to put together this video to show off some base running techniques. A lot of our team members struggle to, especially the younger players, struggle to know the situation, every situation possible that can come up in a baseball game. There's so many, so we wanted to put together this video to show both some good and some bad base running techniques that hopefully will help improve our base running in the future. So starting off is simple, just taking a lead at first base. So you can see the technique here. First of all, our base runner has their feet on the base as they're looking and picking up the signs from the third base coach. Then they've got the signs and they are able to get off the base. Now notice, we're not leaving both feet. Left foot comes together to the right foot steps off, and we're down in an athletic position, ready to move in either direction at any moment. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward here. The faster the runner, or you got the steal sign, probably the more aggressive you want to be. Maybe the slower runner, or the less comfortable you are, the closer you are to the base. You should be able to take one step with your right foot and dive to the back corner of the base and be able to make it comfortably on a pickoff. If you're not doing that, you need to get further off. The next video shows what happens when you don't do that. So in this case, our runner goes right, left, and then hop. So right, and then right there, both feet off in the ground. And as you'll see in a minute, so here's it live, full speed. Pitcher comes set, off both feet, and he just happens to pick off, and he's gone, right? So right there, if I slow this down, 9 times out of 10, when you hop like this, you're gonna be fine, because it just so happens that the pitcher's not looking at you or not making his move. But if the pitcher goes to make the move, like he does right here, you're pretty much a dead duck. He lands, he slips. Maybe if he doesn't slip, he's still able to get back even with the hop, but it's just not good technique, so make sure we're not doing that. Now we're gonna run through some situations, live situations where a ball's put in play and what the runner's doing. So the situation here, top of the first inning, bottom of the first inning, already down 5, 1 out, runner on third. And that's the runner that we're gonna wanna pay attention to. So I'll play it full speed and then we'll go through it in slow motion. Ground ball hit to third base. Makes the out at first, and unfortunately they get the out at home too. So really what happened here is our runner at third sees the ground ball hit to third, and he does make the initial good read, which is you have to freeze on a ground ball back to third. Unless, if the third baseman's playing back, or your coach tells you that the run matters and we're going on contact, then you're just head down going, right? But in a situation like this, where it's early in the game, we're down 5, maybe they're conceding the run here and we should just be taking the run. But either way, if you don't take off on contact on this ball, then you can't do what our runner did here. So he's coming back towards the base, now decides to take off. So you can see here, he has to throw all the way from third to first, and then from first to home in the time that our runner is going to run the entire distance, from third to home. So, let's play it out. The third baseman makes a good throw to first. Get the out there. The first baseman is quick to react. He's paying attention, throws home, and that runner, maybe you can argue he was safe. Okay, so now, in this situation, same thing, runner on first, and this is the top of the first, no score, no outs yet, and this is the same runner as the last play. So now we'll play it in full speed, ground ball hits it back to the pitcher, runner freezes and goes, and this time is safe. So what was the difference here? We'll see it in slow motion. So here, hits back to the pitcher. Now he freezes, which he has to do, especially considering the pitcher is looking right at him, right? So if he just takes off on a ground ball hit back to the pitcher here, any team that knows what they're doing is going to take this out here. So does a great job here and freezes. The one thing he does a much better job than he does on the last play, first of all, he's much further off the bag, okay? And he doesn't immediately retreat to third base. He just freezes and evaluates what the pitcher's going to do. So if the pitcher runs at him or makes a throw, then he's got to make a decision either to just go, or probably he can take a step back and even dive and be safe here and maybe even buy our hitter a base at first. But as you can see, the play develops, the pitcher doesn't commit to going after him, and right here, the pitcher decides, okay, he's not a threat, I'm going to get the out. And as soon as he does that, our runner on third just says, okay, I'm taking off, and he goes. Full speed and, makes a nice slide to the outside. So I put these two freeze frames in here so you can see. In this case, they have to throw from third to first to home in the time that he runs this entire distance. Whereas here, much further off the base and even a much shorter distance. But when you consider, kids of this age are throwing, 40, 50 miles an hour, and our players are only running, 8 to 10 miles an hour at top speed. So the ball goes much faster than the runner, obviously. So you have to make sure on these plays where you're being aggressive and taking an extra base that you're not running the entire base distance on these ground balls. So a much better job on this second play here on the ball back to the pitcher. Next situation is a very similar situation. This time, though, it is a runner going from second to third. It's basically the same exact play as the previous one, so we'll go a little quicker through it. The same idea here. So in this case, we're in the second inning, we're up 2 with 1 out. We have second and third, but in particular, this ground ball is going to be hit to the left side of the infield. Third base is going to score easily, and we're paying attention to the runner on second base here. And he's out at third. So what happened here? Again, look, when the ball is initially hit, our runner on second has a very nice, aggressive secondary lead, right? He's all the way out with the shortstop, which is great. He reads the ball to the right side of himself, and that you have to freeze, generally speaking, and he does freeze. But the problem is, instead of freezing, like that last play at home, he retreats almost the entire distance back to second base. So the shortstop's in the deep hole. Second base is way over here. Second baseman's way over here. He's not making a play on you. So you don't need to worry necessarily that you're going to get a snap throw here. So you can hang out a little bit off the base and see. And then once you see that, there's a bobble here, first of all, the shortstop shouldn't have probably made this throw. But if he does, you can't, again, run this entire base distance in the time that they make a throw, back and forth across the diamond. So here, back, he's practically standing on the base. Also, note, the base runner's 2 strides off of the base, and you're going to try to gun it across the diamond. Never going to make that play at this age. But now look, you have 2/3 of the base path to run, and the ball is already almost being thrown, so... the third baseman actually does a nice job kind of blocking the base and the slide here. Probably he's safe if he makes maybe a head first or slides towards the outside of the bag, tries to do a hook slide, something which, again, is pretty advanced for this age level, but still, the ball beat him by plenty. And at this age, even with 2 umpires, they're probably going to call you out when you make that play. So now let's go to another good base running. Again, same base runner later in the season. So clearly learning from, an unfortunate mistake on that last one. So a couple tournaments later, it's the 5th inning. We're up 7. There's 1 out. Same base runner on second base. And let's see how he does here on the same situation. For a ground ball hit. Now, see there? Now, no chance to get him at third, right? So same situation. Look, freezes on a ball hit to his right, which is exactly what he should be doing. But he doesn't retreat all the way to second, and in this case, even the second baseman's there. So this is, maybe bordering on a hair too aggressive, but when we're up 5, we're trying to force a team to make a blunder. I don't mind a little bit the aggressiveness. And look, clearly he sees the shortstop's not even taking the time to look at him, right? So if the second base shortstop looks at him, he's probably out there. But now he's got this entire, he doesn't have to run the entire base distance in the time that it takes them to throw it across the diamond. So much better job there. This situation, we got third inning, down 4, 1 out, runner on second. Okay, so in this particular play, our runner, gets the bad read here, or just decides to go for no reason. So in the last 2 plays, even the bad defensive play, our runner on second, or our bad base running blunder, I should say, the runner on second froze on a ball hit to your right side. So in general, when you're on second base with less than 2 outs and there's a ground ball hit to your right, shortstop or third base, you have to freeze, right? A ground ball hit to your left, your head down running. If they want to make this throw all the way across the diamond, we'll force them to. But you got to freeze here, okay? So we'll just play it out. Ground ball hit, he takes off. Shortstop makes a heads-up play, gets the lead runner. They get into a rundown, and he's out. Okay, so the first thing, obviously, I'll say is, like I already mentioned, you got to freeze on that. So you can't just put your head down and go with 1 out or no outs. Now, the one thing positive here, you obviously don't just give yourself up here, right? So you don't want to just run in and give yourself an out. And he gets into a rundown. The only criticism I'll make of the rundown here now is, ideally, if you're this runner, the batter runner is now standing on first base, assuming that, you're going to be out on this rundown, which this was a pretty good defensive team. I think you can assume that at this, 11, 12-year-old age level, they're going to be skilled enough to get you in a rundown, out in a rundown. Which base would you rather be tagged out at, second base or third base in this particular situation? So the answer is third base. So if our runner runs back here, turns, commits to go to second, forces them to throw to second a little earlier than they did, they actually executed this rundown excellently. But if you pause there, and he kind of loses his footing a little bit here, but had he didn't and he sprints back, you want to be tagged out over here at third base. And the reason for that is, if you're getting the defense to run you back here and get tagged out here, you give your teammate a chance to make it to second base, which he doesn't do on this play here. Again, like I said, it spun his wheels. Maybe if he doesn't, he forces them to run him back a little further, but gets tagged out right here next to second base. Again, credit to the defense here. Executed a rundown really nicely, but you see where our batter runner is here. No chance to make it to second base on that play. So just heads up base running. When you're on second base, a ball hit to the right side, you got to freeze. All right, now we're moving on to tagging up at third base. So the situation is the 5th inning. We're up 3. There's nobody out. Runner on third base, nobody out. Okay. So we already talked, depending on the situation, the game situation, what the coach says, maybe you're off on first contact on a ground ball in the infield, if that's what the coach is. If the corners are back like they are here, they're conceding the run, or generally conceding the run. Certainly in the middle infield, they're conceding the run to get the out. So on first contact on a ground ball, you're taking off. Generally, if it's hit right back to the pitcher, you want to freeze, like we already talked about. If it's hit right back to the third baseman pretty hard, you probably want to freeze. Second and third, you definitely want to go. First base, it depends where he's playing and what the situation is, what the coach is telling you he wants to do. But in all situations, if there is a fly ball hit to the outfield as a runner on third, your instinct needs to be to head back to third immediately. So let's see what our runner did here. Fly ball hit. Kind of standing, watching, goes back, doesn't get a chance to tag up. Now, when we watch this in slow motion, you can see here, so contact is made. If I back it up, so he's got his secondary lead. He's coming forward, secondary lead. Contact there, stand, watch the ball, recognize it's a fly ball, spectator, oh, I better get back. And now he's getting back. and the catch is already made before he's on third base. Now, I will say in the runner's defense, had he been standing on the base, this ball was hit fairly shallow to right field. Right fielder did make a nice throw in, but it just wasn't ready to tag up in this situation. And at the very least, even on a shallow fly ball, what we would like to see is get back to the base and fake the tag up. At least get on the base, look like you're ready to tag up, take 4, 5, 6 aggressive, hard sprint steps towards home and put the brakes on right about here. And then stop, look up, and force them to make a throw. If the throw's off target, goes to the backstop, you score. If it's a good throw like it is on this play, there's nothing you can do and you get back. But in either case, the runner on third was not prepared to do that. But third base coach got in his ear. Literally the next play, same game, 5th inning, still up 3. Now the 1 out that was just made. Same runner on third base, new batter up. Another fly ball, in this case a line drive fly ball, and the runner scores. Now, the runner was going to score. Now, either way on the first play, the runner's probably not going to score either way. So, we're nitpicking a little bit here, but just wanting to make a point that your instinct has to be back to third, right? Your instinct can't be watch the ball and see if it's caught or not. In this case, after obviously getting in his ear a little bit, instinct was great. So we go back. So he's getting his secondary lead. Let's back up the video. So he's getting his secondary lead, contact there, freeze, immediately back to the base, immediately going back. Now it's a fly ball line drive. Either way, our instinct is back right there. He recognizes, yeah, this guy's not going to catch it, puts the brakes on and goes. But even had that ball been caught, the runner on third was in a much better position to be back on the base and score in either case, whether that was caught or not. So great job, learning from that initial base running blunder. Again, here is a situation with tagging up, but now we have runners on second and third who are both tagging up down big relatively early in the game with no outs. And we're going to have a fly ball hit to right field. So let's watch it through. Pretty deep to right. Right fielder ends up not making the play, and both runners are going to score. But this was an instance of, again, good base running. So we watch it again in slow motion. Batter puts the ball in play. Boom. Now both runners' instinct immediately back to the base. Now second and third. Now third base is always going to tag up on a fly ball, especially a deep fly ball. Now, second base is more of a read play. It also depends on the number of outs in the game, the situation in the game. But in this case, with a deep fly ball to right, you're almost always just going to be going back and tagging on this. Because more than likely, on a deep fly ball to right, that's the hardest ball for an outfielder to need to make a play to a base. They got to throw from deep right all the way into third. Very difficult to make versus, maybe a ball over here to left where might be more of a read play. If you think it's going to get down, that's an instance where if you're tagging up and the ball gets down in like shallow left, it's going to be very hard for you to tag up and make it to third there versus if it does get down and you're, halfway, you might be able to get off. At the lower age groups, it's generally just good practice to teach the boys just to get back. But as you can see in this situation, the ball is pretty deep into right. Both runners are ready to make a play. So both are on the base now. The ball should have been caught here, and then both runners take off. Now, in this case, the right fielder didn't make the play, but regardless, whether he made that play or not, the runner on second and third were both going to advance easily. In this particular case, since it gets over his head, the runner on second is even able to score, which he wouldn't have otherwise been able to do if he had made that catch. But good heads up base running, tagging up on that. Okay, now here is a situation, runner on first, 2 outs, 5th inning, up big, late in the game, steal sign is on. And so we'll watch this play through. So steal sign's on, he's taken off, fly ball is hit in the infield, runner pulls up kind of at second base initially and then takes off. So what the third base coach is telling him is, On 2 outs, if you have less than 2 outs, 1 out, 2 out, you're the runner on first, you get the steal sign, you take off and you hear contact, ping right there, you need to pick up the ball if there's 1 out or no outs, right? If that's a rocket to the first baseman, you're probably out regardless. There's nothing you can do about it. If it's a ground ball, you're probably just going to keep going. But if it's a fly ball like this, you need to jam the brakes on and get back. However, with 2 outs in this situation, you're never slowing down, right? Here you need to be picking up the third base coach who's probably bringing you to third, right? So this ball gets caught, no harm, inning over, right? But the point is that with 2 outs and you're stealing second base, you need to just be booking it, right? Because if they somehow drop this ball and you're booking it, you're going to make third. And maybe even depending if it squibs away and now the catcher has to maybe, if this hits off his glove in fair territory and bounds away and the catcher runs over here, you might even be able to come around and score. But when a runner, just assuming, that nothing's going to happen here, he pulls up really at second base and then he's just, stopped right there on the base. Why stop there? Now he realizes, I can keep going, but wasted all that time, slowing down and coming around second base and picking up the ball. You don't need to pick up the ball with 2 outs. You need to pick up your third base coach who's going to say, yeah, come. Because if he drops this, you get third and maybe even more. If he drops this now, maybe because you're only this far off the base and he drops it here, maybe he drops that, it's in fair territory, you're standing around here off the base, maybe now you're in a pickle that ends the inning versus standing on third base, right? So no harm, no foul here by our runner who is running to second, right? Simple play, simple catch. Seems like a simple, inconsequential, base running situation, but a situation where you need to know that with 2 outs and you're stealing and you hear contact, your instinct should be first to third, not just get to second and stand on second, right? First to third, let's get a little bit more aggressive on that base running situation. Now we're getting into a little bit more advanced base running stuff. So this is a situation, top of the first, we're up 1, there's no outs, runner on second. And this is a situation where these next couple plays that I wanted to go over were situations where it's helpful to know where the defense is playing, right? So as a base runner, before you get off the base, you should be picking up your signs from your third base coach, and you should be taking a look around at the defense. Where are the outfielders playing? Are they deep? Are they shallow? Are they shaded towards right field? Are they shaded towards left field? These are things that can be helpful in knowing whether you can go first to third on a play, whether you can go second to home on a play. And in this particular situation, as a runner on second base, where is the middle infield? Okay, look at where the shortstop is practically holding him on. Okay, and then watch what develops on this play. So he's ahead of the shortstop, a ball in the hole. He freezes and retreats to second and is held up at third. So as we watch this play again. So, again, now this is going to sound hypocritical, right? Because we already talked about the rundown situation where a ball hit to your right side, you need to freeze, which he exactly does perfectly. Freeze, read. But he looks to retreat, and then right there, he's like, oh, the shortstop's not standing there. And by then it's too late. If he knew the shortstop was here on his hip, there's no way the shortstop's going to get to this ball. So you take off. Even if the shortstop makes a great play, goes in the hole, dives, and keeps it in the infield, he's never going to throw you out on third if you just take off. And if you take off, again, knowing that shortstop's on your hip, right? This is 100% the right read if the shortstop's playing where he should be playing, which is here. But if you know the shortstop's on your hip and you know that there's a sharply hit ground ball to your right, there's no one there to make the play. So take off, right? So if he takes off right away, instead of now retreating, oh, that ball's in the outfield. Look, by then it's already halfway to the left fielder. There's no way the third base coach can send him on this, right? Because the left fielder gets to it quick. He goes to a knee, makes sure it doesn't get by him, gets up quick, hits his cut, right? So right there, you're barely rounding third, and the shortstop's got the ball in his hands. There's no way the third base coach can send you unless that was, the game's on the line type situation. But in the first inning, first base coach is not going to send you there. If you take off immediately, right? Back when back when that ball was hit, you knew the shortstop was there. That's a run right there. And he got in on the next play, so no harm, no foul again. But again, just something you can learn from, and next time apply, knowing where the defense is. Here's another one, knowing where the defense is. You're a runner on first base. Where's the right fielder, right? That's the hardest ball. When you're on first base and the batter hits a ball into the left side of the field, so anywhere from pitcher's mound here, you have a great view of this, right? You're running to second and you can see right in front of you, clear as day, what's going on. Balls that are hit over here are the hardest for you to read because A, you have to turn and look to see if the ball is going to be caught or not, right, on a fly ball or some sort of bloop shot. And B, otherwise, you're running this way, picking up your third base coach with the ball down in the corner here. So if you quickly just know, where is the right fielder playing? Is he playing straight up? Is he shaded towards the line? Is he shaded towards the gap? Is he shallow? Is he deep, right? If you know that before the ball is hit, you might have an advantage on being able to go first to third. So let's watch this play. Ball's hit to the right side, turns and looks, and goes. The ball gets by the right fielder, so he gets to third easily. First baseman has to retreat, but again, so he does do a great job here. Ball hit, you got to kind of freeze. He sees, and he does a great job turning your body, right? A lot of kids will just stand here, a lot of young kids would just stand here looking in this direction and looking over their shoulder. Turn your whole body, right? You can be facing this way and running this way at the same time, which he does do a great job of doing, right? So he sees it there, reads it down, and then takes off, right? But if you knew the right fielder was way out here, you take one good step, look, boom, you're off first and third. So this was a very good job by the runner on first on reading that and not just being content going to second, going first to third on that. I think had this right fielder come up with this cleanly, and if he had an above average arm, maybe there's a play at third, but regardless, a good secondary, a good read, and then going hard to second, picking up the third base coach, going, first to third, not just being content with going to second base. And then this is just, I kept this one in here. This is the very next situation, which is first and third. The other caveat, which I didn't put in this video, the coach had just come out for a mound visit and brought the whole infield in. So with first and third situations and in the youth level, especially 10, 11, 12U, where first and third plays are always being put on, your runners have to be aware of what's going on here, and the potential for either a trick play with a pickoff type move or a trick play where the catcher would either pump fake and throw to third, throw to short, throw back to the pitcher, or just throw down, right? So always on your toes at first and third, never assuming what's going on. The added peculiarity is, a left-handed pitcher, so he's got a lot of options here. Generally, they'll like the, pick over to first move just because generally they'll have a good move, making sure you're not leaving too early. In this case, the coach must have came out and said, we're going to back pick to third, which is extremely unusual for a left-handed pitcher, but here's the play. Both runners do a great job, and they threw it away, and then Aiden here taking an extra base. So we'll kind of go over all this step by step. So he comes set, right? First of all, our runner on third, boom, ready, not being caught asleep, not assuming he's going to first or home. So he's on his toes, ready to move. Great, and clearly this is the design play. I don't know if third base was asleep or just not on his toes, not ready, but generally this would be, third base is not holding you on. But the play would be, hey, we're going to come over in that direction. So, look like you're not ready and then sneak in there. He doesn't do a great job of sneaking in there, or maybe just misunderstood the play, but he doesn't look especially ready. But anyhow, the pitcher zings it over there. Looked like a pretty decent throw. It's just that the third baseman wasn't ready. Over here at first base, our runner at first base now. Let's take a look at that. So here he's got his lead, he sees the move here, and his initial instinct was good, which is going to first, just making sure we're not getting picked off here. But once they throw to third, okay, we don't want to go back to the base. We don't want to dive back in here if they're not picking us off here, right? We want to get off the base. If he makes a good throw over here, fine. You just get your secondary, you look at it, and then you can get back, which is what he's doing there. Then he sees, okay, that ball's by him. I'm taking off. So great job here by a runner on first. You know, at this point, he can walk in easily. So just a runner on third just did a great job going back, reading it in the dirt, getting up quick, and scoring. Now a runner on second, or a runner on first, is not just content with taking second. He's going hard, making a big turn. Now, third base and left field went running after the ball. That's now down the line. Shortstop really should be coming here to cover third, as well as the pitcher, frankly. Shortstop becomes kind of a spectator, and he's caught in no man's land being a cutoff man for some reason. And pitcher is late to get over there. Our runner sees, hey, nobody's here, right? Shortstop's not covering, pitcher's not covering, nobody's covering. He's going to beat the second baseman there because he's at full speed. He comes in hard. Now both realize they need to cover, but it's way too late. Free base by some nice aggressive base running here. Not just being content going to first, saying, hey, nobody's at third, I'm going to take third too, right? At this point, it's way too late. Third baseman just getting back into the picture. So great job base running by both runners in that situation. All right, this is the final one, and this is kind of a drawn-out play. So in this case, we're focused on our runner here on third. So this situation, he was on, I think, first, a base hit. He goes first to third. It's the first inning of the game. It's 0-0, 1 out. So we're looking to maybe be a little bit aggressive here. So he makes it to third, right? The play's over. That's where he's going to start the next play. But I wanted to start it here so we can kind of talk through this. So the situation here now is we've got, you know, a middle of the order type hitter, 4-5 hitter here. So good hitter. You know, we don't want to take the bat out of their hands. It's 1 out, so we want to give them, you know, a chance to knock in a couple runs here, right? But as a runner on third, we're always kind of paying attention to the dynamic between the third baseman. Is he holding you on? Is he not? The pitcher, is he looking you back? Is he not? Is he turning his back on you when he receives the ball back from the catcher? And finally, and most importantly, the catcher. What's the catcher doing? Is he kind of, you know, doing his job, which is keeping you honest, checking on you, making good throws back to the pitcher? Or is he just kind of lobbing it back, not really paying attention to you, you know, what's going on? So first pitch, foul ball. Second pitch, this is a good one in the series because it's a ball, but a runner on third is getting his secondary, and he's paying attention to the catcher here. So the catcher now gets up. He's worried about his frame job. He doesn't look at the runner at third, and he makes kind of a, you know, pedestrian throw back to the pitcher. Not a bullet, not totally lazy, but, you know, so take a mental note there. Okay, we go on in the at-bat. Called strike 2. Again, not a look to second, throw back to the pitcher. Foul ball, nothing to see there. Ball outside, close pitch. Coach says something, so now he's paying attention over here to his coach at first base, not paying attention to the runner, and then kind of a mediocre throw back. Outside, full count. Again, our runner is getting a pretty big lead over here. That time he is looking. He kind of noticed, hey, you're taking a pretty big lead over there, but throw it back. Now we don't want to, again, 1 out. We don't want to take the bat out of our hitter's hands here. So telling him, you know, hey, let's be aggressive, but let's let our hitter hit. Strike 3, high fastball, tough bat. But now we got 2 outs, okay? Now, even though we've only gone 1 extra out, you know, the situation's a little different. You know, we want to get a run in. We want to jump on him in the first inning and get on top, right? And now there's 2 outs. We still have a good hitter up at the plate, but it's a situation now where if we get caught stealing because we're being a little over aggressive, at least we're starting off the next inning, you know, with a clean count here. So let's watch this once in full speed. Strike, off, steals home, no problem, right? So that's a series over multiple plays. So you see a runner on third. The key to this, first of all, is you got to get a big secondary, which he's got there. Now, the catcher catches it, and he's got in his memory bank, hey, this guy hasn't looked me back once. The third baseman's not keeping me honest once. He's not throwing rockets back to the pitcher, not necessarily lollipops, but not, making, that's why it's important. And we talk to our catchers, throw the ball back to your pitcher, right? Make it so that, you're not just lobbing it back there. It's just good practice. So he's not looking back. Now he doesn't stop. Feet are constantly moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. The catcher's not looking at him. Right here, he realizes, yep, he's not throwing it down to third. He's going back to the pitcher, and he just takes off. So now he's got a running lead. I don't care how fast or slow this runner is, when you've got a running lead and you're a third to halfway down the third baseline, there's no combination of a pitcher-catcher at the 11U level that's going to throw you out, right? So he throws it there. The pitcher ends up bobbling it, which I'm not sure that matters. Even if he catches that cleanly and guns it to home, there's no chance they're getting him. Safe at home, free run, just based on heads-up base running. So I hope those situations helped a little bit. I put these out there for our 11U and 9U, about to be 12U and 10U boys, just so that they can see, themselves and their peers in these different situations. And I hope it helps us improve our base running moving forward. Thanks a lot.